All right. Well, I appreciate you joining me, Sasha. Thanks for joining me this
Um,
morning. And what I wanted to hit record really fast because I knew that our off-camera conversation was going to get really good, and didn't want to miss any of it. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your work first before we hop into this. So please share with us about you and your work and where you live, all that good stuff.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you for having me here. It's so nice to be able to do some of these things. So I am a licensed marriage and family therapist here in the state of California, but I've also I've worked as a parenting consultant and child sleep consultant and stuff over the years, and have also now have an online program slash course. You could do either one, for moms who've experienced pregnancy or birth trauma. So I decided I really wanted this was just a topic that I had heard come up for so many years with so many moms that I worked with, including myself, experiencing those two things as well. And just thought it was something that needed to be addressed. And there weren't a lot of resources for it. So that's where you'll see a lot of my work now. But I think, as we were talking about earlier, it's kind of also branched out just over the last couple weeks in working with a lot of moms too, who are just struggling in general with the time now. And that's activating.
Totally. Yeah, it is triggering all sorts of things, imagine, for so many people. And so Sasha and I met at a conference, which was really serendipitous, I think, between our little circle that we just happened to, you and Renee and I. And Renee had me on her podcast, I think last fall. But the similarity in the work that we do, and originally I wanted Sasha to join me because the work I do is around C-section moms as well. It's physical healing. Of course, we all know the mind-body connection. So physical work is going to go into the energetic healing and the emotional support and emotional healing. So I wanted to talk with Sasha and have her share her expertise on what she's doing around birth trauma and with C-section moms. However, we were finding ourselves with the current situation with the virus going on. It's shifting, or not really shifting, but it's bringing up more trauma. That one could be just underlying trauma because of that was there from birth, from their birth trauma. Excuse me. So we're going to kind of cover all of these, considering what everyone's going through. And I think these conversations are important to have. And we've got a little bit more time these days to sit and do these conversations. So I'm thrilled to have you join me and talk about this. So one of the things that we were talking about before I hit record was, like we said, this underlying trauma. Maybe we experienced, for your work, in your case, a woman having a C-section and that not being her ideal birth plan. And in that sense, feeling out of control, I imagine. And so now that same thing could be triggered, that feeling of not being able to being in control. So are you finding that women are saying, are there certain things that they're saying? Are they certain feelings that they're saying? Is it general or is it different for everybody?
Yeah, it's a great question, because it is something, I think, as we were talking about just a little bit before we started recording, that I've noticed the connection that whether it be with birth trauma or any kind of trauma, but this time in particular is about restriction and control, and and obviously we're doing it for health reasons, and hopefully it will be helpful. But the way that it suddenly came on, and just the constricting feeling that it's had on I think so all of us. But I I have seen that with a lot of my clients over the last couple weeks that, and specifically if we're looking at moms who've had C-sections, like the similarities, right? And how this can be reactivating for some of that trauma, in that, yes, you're in it now, you're once again in a situation where somebody is telling you this is what you have to do, and this is, you don't have a choice in that, and we're doing this for your own safety and your own health. And you're launched into something that really is not within your control. And when we think about just the similarities in what those feelings are, and what feelings and memories can just get reactivated from something like this, it can be pretty intense. And so it's definitely connected in that all of the restrictions that are now upon everybody. If anybody has ever been in a situation where they have been trapped, or they have been, feeling like they don't have a choice or say, then this time can be super activating.
Yeah, absolutely. I could totally see that, and I go back to, we all have our certain reactions and feelings about this based on, our personalities and our life experiences and things like that. And I was seeing a meme the other day about the introverts talking about, I never knew that my lifestyle was called social distancing as an introvert. Right. So some people are loving it, and some people are like, oh my God, I'm trapped, get me out.
Right.
So, such a different reaction and triggering for so many people. So for the people who are not quite enjoying it and not living the regular lifestyle, what are some of the things that you are doing to support, or what are the suggestions that you're offering to these women or to moms in general who are feeling out of control and being fully triggered again?
Yeah. So some of the things that have been coming up for me, because yes, that's true. Like a lot of, and listen, I think one of the main things I've been trying to do is to look at both sides of this, to say, regardless of sort of where you stand on all of this, we all have fear, we all have anxiety, and that's normal. And don't try to make that go away. You don't have to. You have to acknowledge that and understand that this is, again, still very new. So everyone's still adjusting. And so first and foremost, it's like giving ourselves breaks, right? For being maybe a little more on edge, or being a little more irritable, or just a little more tense. That's okay. We're all just trying to figure it out, especially those of us who have kids at home and who are doing schooling. It's just a big adjustment. So first and foremost, it's like, lots of breaks, lots of giving yourself breaks, and lots of giving other people breaks too. So it's like that general kindness that we can give to the self and to others is probably the number one thing, and acknowledging what our own feelings are. But some of the other just like practical things that I've been suggesting doing is that, because it's also a time of disconnect socially, and whether we're introverts or extroverts, we all still need some kind of connection and some kind of support. And maybe we're better at that one-on-one. Maybe we like bigger groups. It's different for everybody, but we still need that connection. So things like this, like setting up virtual lunches, breakfast, coffee hour, happy hour with friends or colleagues, are really important. Encouraging your kids, if they're at a certain age, to set up like play dates and time to talk with their peers as well. Like we need to make an effort to keep that up, so we're not just isolated and in our own head and around the same people all day long. We really need to make a point to like get outside of that and do more things like this, like virtual dates. And so that's a big one. And while we can, hopefully this will remain in effect, but to get outside, to just take a walk, or even if it's just sitting outside on your porch or whatever it might be, when there's sunshine. I know we've had a lot of rain, depending on where you live. I'm here in Los Angeles, so we've had a ton of rain, which hasn't helped the mood.
I know.
But when the sun is out,
Yeah.
and even if it's not, there's just something about taking in these breaths of fresh air. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I was just on a walk yesterday, and it was clear and it was sunny, and it's like the air already felt kind of cleaner
Yeah.
and cooler to take in. And I just had to stop and recognize, and this is another thing that I've been saying, is just like stopping and recognizing like the beauty within the turmoil and the
Yeah.
ugly and all of that. And we have to find those moments of beauty and grace, and like, okay, like our earth is getting some sort of a break right
Yeah.
now. We can
It really
see it, we
is.
can feel it, and taking that in. And those are things too, which leads me kind of to the next thing that I just suggest all the time. I think it's
Yeah.
important, but even more so now, is this gratitude, like a gratitude list, just having that be part of your daily practice, even if it's just being grateful for the food that you have, or being grateful that you have toilet paper.
Yeah, I know.
It's small things, but
So wild.
it helps, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because it gives us perspective. Because again, like we tend to this time, like just think of like we're just thinking in like a lacking way and
Yeah.
a surviving way, and not focusing on the things that we do have. And even if those are just small things, they're still things. Like we're still breathing and we're
Yeah.
still
We still
talking.
have our health
Yeah.
the most part.
Oh my
Those
God.
are all really, really good points. And I have been feeling of course, the tragic piece of small businesses closing. Like my entire street where my business is shut down. All the cute little shops, all the restaurants, except for the curbside, people doing
Mhm.
curbside. My studio's closed. And so my heart breaks for those businesses who are really, we all have to figure out something to pick things up. But at the same time, I'm loving the innovation that I'm seeing online with people figuring out how to host virtual block parties and, virtual workouts. I've seen all the studios hop online. I love it. Teaching virtual classes and doing interviews like this in
Yeah.
concerts. And
Yeah.
Debbie Allen was teaching dance
I
classes.
know.
All of
We
those
did
things.
that one.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I am loving it. And I really feel like there's going to be some great magic coming out of
Yeah.
this, even though there's, of course, hardship
Mhm.
and, people being sick and worse. And
Right.
so I like to look forward to those things. And I
Mhm.
think that's kind of helping. And I'm feeling a little bit more, um, I don't know, I don't know if creative's the word, but there's ideas coming for sure, and things are
Mhm.
coming together. So anyway,
Yeah.
so looking at the good things is super helpful, and
Yes.
not going, oh my God, I'm stuck in another day, because that's
Right.
that's going to wear us down for sure, and
It is. It is.
destroy our immune system.
Mhm.
The
Yes.
worry and the fear. And so I've been trying to help people more like work and move their bodies and
Yeah.
supporting them in that way. But I love that, the gratitude list. Are there any other suggestions that you're giving to your patients right now?
Um, I'm trying to think I feel like there's a lot that's been coming up. Definitely the exercise and
Yeah.
moving around too, just kind of, that's like a big one. Even if you just, again, like, there's so many resources too, like online. You're doing your stuff online, which is great.
Yeah.
There's YouTube videos and yoga. And there's a lot that we have access to
It's
that,
true.
is good. One of the things that a big thing too, that again, I generally say, even more so during this time, are things like prayer and meditation,
Mm-hmm.
because we really have to go within when our external environment may seem chaotic or intense or uncertain. We have a tendency to go without, right? To go into the external world and sort of let that dictate how we feel and how we think.
Mm-hmm.
And using this opportunity now that we're home and might have a little more downtime, to go within, and prayer and meditation, whatever that means to you. I mean,
Yeah.
prayer, I mean, anything. I don't care who you pray to. It's
Right.
just, it's just some kind of stillness and quiet that we get into that that gets us connected to some higher source, or just higher knowledge, whatever you want to call that. And it can relieve so much of that fear and anxiety, because I think we also, like, during this time, we have a tendency to try to get more controlling because we're so uncertain, we're so unsure. So it's like, what can I control? What can I control? I have to figure it out. I have to plan. I have to have those schedules, and and that just makes us even more just, spiraling. And so being able to surrender to something higher, to something bigger, to be able to say, I don't have all the answers right now, but I trust that I will be guided in some general direction. So I don't have to figure it all out. It's not my job to figure it all out, actually. And I just need to look at what I need to do today, or maybe I just need to look at what I need to do right in this moment.
Yeah.
And trust that guidance will also come. And so, like, spiritual foundation and presence and work right now is going to be really huge, just because it's such an uncertain time. And if that's something that you have, great, you can build upon it. If it's something you'd like to work on, now is the time. It's just a really important thing. And then the meditation goes with that too, because that's when you're listening. That's when you're still. And even though your thoughts might be going a mile a minute, that's okay. It's not about, like, not having any thoughts. I always say it's just about being able to just sit and breathe, even if it's just for a few minutes. Like, close your eyes for a few minutes and just take some deep breaths in and out. I mean, you'll feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
I love
very
that. I love what you said about, prayer, meditation, and what was it? Writing it. You said releasing it. Anyway, it made me think of taking the pressure off of us and handing it over to something else. So, in a way, surrendering, basically, I guess. But I love the way you said it, because it just makes you feel like an exhale. Like, it's not up to me, really. I have to let it go as much as I can and just go with it, which will, again, take that tension out of our bodies and the worry, and suppress our immune system, all the things that happen that then lead to illness, or, physically or mentally.
Yeah, it's so true. That's what I've been saying too to a lot of my moms, is like, if we want to stay healthy, like, yes, it's about washing our hands and doing all of those things too. Like, those are all important, but there's a whole other side to that too, which is, our health, the way that we feel physically is often, if not more times, more so dictated by how we are feeling and the energy that we're storing in our bodies. And if we're certainly walking around with tension and anger, or, whatever it might be, then it's certainly going to make us more vulnerable to illness. And so part of our way, part of staying healthy is also maintaining, like, this balance of like, spiritual and emotional health.
Yeah, absolutely. Our bodies are listening. So whether it's verbal or mentally, it's going into our body. And like we talked about with your gals a week or so ago, those things will then show up, like the illness, or the physical pain, backache, hip pain, neck pain. All of those things are manifestations of whatever's going on in our thoughts and our mind showing up in our body. And so being able to release that, whether it's journaling, I wake up every morning and I journal whatever comes to mind, good, bad, or ugly, I just let it spill. And then I go into some oracle card pulls, and then I go into meditation, and then movement. So all of those things create this, well-rounded, like, healing modality in a sense. And I offer that more to my virtual people than I do my in-studio people, although I've tried to, figure out ways to incorporate it. But those practices are so important. Prayer, like you said, no matter what, just being able to talk to something or someone who feels bigger than you, who's going to kind of take that from you and so you feel a little bit lighter. And
Completely.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. It's important right now to take, because that exists, that energy, it's all energy, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, we can only do so much in our human limitations. And
Totally.
so
It's so true. It's so
we have
true.
to kind of give up trying to think that we have all the answers, and know that there are other people that are working on these answers. And so, but that, what we can do, we also want to look at like what we have control over, and we have more than we think, right now. We have control over how we think and how we feel a lot of the time, and choice in those things, and choice in what our energy is, and that radiates like that's contagious too. I've been, I was talking about this with a group I had going on the other day, which is just like, just as much as this virus is contagious, like energy is contagious as well. So, you want to make a change on a bigger level, change you can shift that energy, and people are going to sense that, and that's going to be
sure.
And that's going to be helpful, and that's going to spread.
Exactly. Yeah. People can feel your energy. I forget the exact distance, what it is, but, if you're approaching someone, say you're going into a store, or you're going to, meet somebody, they can feel your energy. Well, this is all going to go down before you even get to them, in front of them.
Right.
And I need to look up the distance, but there is a specific distance. And I was listening to this one podcast not long ago about a gentleman who wakes up every morning. Before he does anything, he lays there and he visualizes and sends, love and healing energy over his surrounding area, his city, his state, and then the connecting states, and just visualizes it going over all the states and around the world. And I thought, that is really amazing. And so when I remember it, I think about trying to do that too. And especially now, thinking about, sending that love layer over the states, and sending that healing over the entire world.
Right. I love that. That's really beautiful. I love that. And yeah, if we could have more of that, and I think that makes us feel good, right? Like, it's a great way to like start the day, or just have moments like that in the day where it gets us again, like outside of ourselves, outside of our own head, and thinking about others.
Exactly. It does. It's better. Yeah. When we can give, and we feel so much better, right? When we feel like we're doing something to help, it feels better. This reminded me of another thing before we hop off. I was on this virtual birthday party last night with a friend of mine, and one of her girlfriends called in from Bali, and she says today there's a holiday called, I'm going to forget the name of it. I want to say Nepali or something along those lines. I'm butchering it, but it's an entire day of prayer in Bali. They shut off the electricity. They shut off everything, so you can't get on the internet. And you just spend 24 hours in prayer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's happening right now. I think
right.
they're like hours and hours ahead of us, but
right.
She was Bali.
That is so powerful. That's amazing. I mean, that is such a priority.
Yeah, I know.
It's taken that seriously, and I love that. I wish that
we should have one of those. I know.
Well,
I know people are getting creative in doing, meditation hour and prayer hour and stuff like that virtually.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing.
Yes.
But before we hop off, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me and sharing your wisdom, and tell us where we can find you, website and your favorite social platform, but I'll also link it to when I post.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah. Well, so I'm on Instagram as the Realistic Parent page is my handle, although you can also just search my name, Sasha Hawkes, Hawkes, and that'll pop up too. The name of my website also is just sashahawkes.com, and you'll have you can find me there, all the sort of resources and stuff there. I'm also on Facebook. It's like longer, Sasha Hawkes at the Realistic Parent. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So many names. I'm like,
you can send it to me and I'll link it. I know.
Yeah. But that's it. And there's I have like a private Facebook Facebook group for moms called Healing Through Motherhood. And so there's a lot of stuff on there that I'm
Beautiful.
trying to build now too, for just as free resources for moms to
That's
get,
awesome.
to get some help. So
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share before we go?
Thank you so much for having me here. I already feel it's just so nice to talk about this in this kind of calming way and environment, and sharing these similar feelings and approaches. And I already feel like we've put some energy out there that that
For
is
sure.
good and loving and kind and all of that. And this helps me just as much. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I
Yeah.
will see you online.
I will. Yes. Thanks.